right, hello everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. A couple things I want to talk about today. I'm sitting here goofing around, so kind of let the intro go the full length. I've been watching this Jose hurricane coming in, and I think they're just going to power that one up, take it straight for New York around the 20th. Now, you remember about 2 weeks ago when they said Jose would hit New York on the 11th or Irma would or whatever, and I was like, nah, nothing's going to hit New York on the 11th. It was going to be on the 20th. And then they started backtracking. Oh, Irma might, something is now off in the Atlantic, whatever. Irma didn't do anything in North Carolina because of the warriors there who had Oregon along the coast pushing it back out to sea. And another testament to the Oregon folks. Look at Florida. Every single warrior that put Oregon and defended their yards and areas with Oregon, none of those places were touched by the Oregon. And I've always said the same thing with Texas. And I've always said the Oregon provides protection areas. And that was one of the reasons why they hated my Oregon so bad, was because it was protecting the people from their weather weapons. And so I've always said Oregon does 101 different things, and it does. It does. It annihilates evil. It ends night terrors. It keeps demons and aliens out of your home. It'll crash alien ships when it saturates the air above your house. You'll see shooting stars. That's usually a ship crashing. They call it meteors, but that ship's on fire. We've crashed about 16 to 18,000 of those by now, and it burns them. It destroys them, and so it causes clones to malfunction. It causes alien equipment to melt, and it provides protection areas for its people. It's the single weapon. When I prayed to the Father years ago and asked, what can we do to protect ourselves and tear down the strongholds of the New World Order, and he gave one single weapon, which was the Oregon that we make today. And people have laughed and they've mocked, and now they're seeing more and more of the results because it works. They're trying to say, oh, people put out fans. It blew the hurricane away. Are you kidding me? That's the most pathetic excuse I've ever heard. Talk about tripping over yourselves and stupidity to deny the power of our Oregon. That's exactly what they want to do. They don't want to credit us. They don't want people putting it out. And you can see it. It bounced completely off North Carolina. They didn't even destroy North Carolina. And we'll see. But you know what? The only thing I saw on the East Coast was New York being inundated with water. And so, they're going to have to push Jose back out, strengthen it up, and swing it up to the north, because that's the only way it's going to work. It's not going to inundate any areas the warriors are at. And New York, I've already asked Father, hey, just turn the Oregon off. And perhaps that's why I had that picture of New York underwater, because he's telling me, hey, it's going to get soaked with water. And so I didn't see any buildings down. I didn't see any wind damage. What I saw was water. And so I'm not saying it's a definite, because there was no date. I'm just saying by something I feel about it. And, it's not a thus saith the Lord, it's just something I feel. And so I'm going with that because this timeline seems to be pretty intense, but for all intents and purposes, it seems to be busting up on them. They're trying to use artificial means to slam America with their tech weapons. They will want to reduce the population 90% in the next 3 years. They got a long way to go, I'll tell you that, because we're fighting back. They're so used to Christians being stupid and dumb and being floor mats to Satanists because they've been that way for 100 years. They've done nothing while the Satanists have taken over our churches and our pulpits, and they fill up their pews week after week after week on Sun God Day instead of honoring the Father on the seventh day, which is Sabbath. While these hypocrites preach the Ten Commandments, they don't even honor the Sabbath day. He never changed it to the first day of the week. He said, honor the Sabbath day, the seventh day. And they all get together on the first day of the week and say, we love Jesus. Why don't you do what he says? Why don't you do what he says? So anyway, I'm not getting involved with all the political crap going on either because it's all scripted. It's all nonsense. And it's not the real Donald Trump. It's not the real Melania. And so I really can't even get into politics. He's going by the script now. It's politics gone amok. And the Lord isn't even having me pay attention to it. When Obama was president, you could always just, wonder which clone this is. 1, 2, 3, 12 of them. And now with Trump, he has several. He has like 3 or 4. They're just pumping out the clones of Trump now. And, I'm so through with the charades. The fake charades. They prop these clones up and try to act like politics as usual in D.C., and you have all these fake humans. Every one of them, they're all fake. They're soul-scalped fakes. How could anyone watch this anymore? And so it's just getting really, really bad. It's beyond the bad point. And so it's about time for the Father's destruction on this nation and on this world, because all of them have been replaced. And the ones who haven't been, they go to war against. So you can always look at the countries that America's going to war against, because it means they're still human. Like Syria and now Venezuela. They had to wait till Chavez. They killed him off. The only way they could get to him was with cancer, and so that took years to kill him off. And now they can go in and try to take control of Venezuela, because Venezuela's not under the Satanist control. Neither is Syria, and whoever's left on their list. Iran used to hold up signs, America the Great Satan, and it used to be offensive, but then now that you look at it, it's prophetic, because they're all Satanists. And the American people are just kind of stuck watching what's going on and having no power to do anything. But we can fight back, get the orgone out, because they don't like it. It burns them, and we can make it miserable for them. And so that's our plan for now. All these weather disasters, folks, they're practicing. They're practicing, and they're also public conditioning. They want you to welcome and expect that if there's a disaster in your neighborhood, FEMA will be there to rescue the people. They don't rescue anybody, but that's beyond the point. Let's play along. It's conditioning, because remember I told you about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that FEMA was an alien agency. It wasn't human. Now, they may have little humans in the front part that you see, but it's an alien agency, and it's these aliens that are going to be rounding up the humans. And you see this in Hollywood movies, and y'all think it's fiction, but it's actually coming about, and it's coming about through FEMA, because they're aliens, and what they're going to do is be rounding up humans. And so right now they're just getting practice. They take up human bodies that they look like us, they sound like us, but they're not us. You want a good example? Go look at Rick Scott, governor of Florida. He was soul scalped. He was taken over by a gray alien. Look at him. He is just nasty. He's not the same person anymore. And none of them are. Once they get soul scalped, they're gone. The human part of them is gone. And an alien entity takes over their bodies and works through them. And so they blend in with humans in that way. They look like us. They've taken over a human body. But they're growing in number amongst us because they're in all the top positions. Most of these agencies, NSA, CIA, they're not run by the federal government. They're not run by D.C. Do you know how many times when Obama was president that I would be contacted by D.C. to ask who was involved with what, because they wanted to know who was in charge of something, who did something. They would want to blame something on Russia, and it wasn't Russia, it was the CIA. They don't even know what the CIA is up to and what they're doing. And when things happen on the world scene, they're all left wondering who did it. Who did it? Was it the Russians? They're always ready to blame the Russians. And I'd be like, no, it wasn't the Russians. It was the CIA. The CIA is aliens. They don't tell the humans anything. Deep state is another metaphor for alien agency. It's the shadow government. And it's all owned and run by humans that have been taken over by aliens. They're all aliens, folks. I don't know how to make that any clearer. Time's running out. For the humans. Remember the days of Noah? Because Noah and his kids, his sons and his wife are the last ones on earth with pure human DNA. That's why the Lord put them on an ark and saved them. It wasn't because the world was wicked. Yeah, it was wicked. But it had to do with the DNA. The DNA had been so tainted by that time. Hybrids amok. Human and alien hybrids. The giants everywhere. Human DNA had been tainted to the point where they were the last people on earth with pure human DNA. And that's why the Father had to save them and destroy the world with a flood. And we're getting to that point again soon. They kill off the Christians. And we're the last ones here left on earth with the Father's light in us. And they call it candle snuffing time. And that's why they're salivating to come against the Christians in America and annihilate them. And they're planning this and plotting this with the FEMA camps, the FEMA roundups. Now, when you get to the cities on the coastlines, you're pretty much hitting Cain's kids. They have to know this. Maybe they're just stupid. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Christians in the city, but it's mostly Cain's kids. Cain was the city builder, remember? And they were the ones that liked the nightlife. They were the nightlife people. You want to look at real Israel, they're the farmers, they're the campers, people who lived in tents. Every time I see a campground with people in tents, I laugh. I go, yeah, how can they deny we're Israel? Still living in tents. An idea of our vacation is getting a tent, staying in a tent for a while. Anyway, and that's going to be Middle America. That's where the real war is going to be because they're stocked, they're loaded. And they'll defend themselves and their families. You know, what do you want from libtards in the cities? All the beta men probably running to find mommy to take care of them and protect them. Israel's alpha males. That's where the war will be. UN troops moving all over the country. Of course, they have been. Other alien agencies, the UN, NATO troops. But not human, folks. That's why they have no problem rounding up humans and doing the detestable things they plan on doing to them in FEMA camps. They don't have any emotions. If you look at the pictures of all the Chinese troops all the time, part of NATO and part of UN, most of them are clones. They're just synthetic robotoids. They don't have human emotion. They will have no problem tearing up your limbs, separating you from your kids, using humans as an organ harvesting project. They'll be harvesting organs, putting your children in sex slave trades, and killing off the men and women. That's their plans. So, tomorrow's correlation, I like. Remember the Father says to watch for signs in the skies and to know when His coming is near? So that's what I like to do on the show. I like to look at signs and correlations. And tomorrow's got an interesting correlation because I like to follow the Enochian calendar because that was the original calendar the Father gave Israel to follow. And, of course, when they were in Babylonian captivity, they adopted a new lunar-based calendar, which was a foreign calendar. The Father didn't appoint that one either. They just did it on their own. And so for years I've been yelling and trying to get the Messianics away from the lunar calendar and back to the original solar calendar that the Father gave to His people. Today we have the Hebrew calendar, the Torah calendar, or the Talmud calendars. And the Gregorian, everybody's got a different calendar. I like the Enochian, which is the original calendar. And according to the Enochian calendar, tomorrow is the beginning of the Feast of Trumpets. I know you're going to say, Feast of Trumpets don't start till the 20th, 21st this month. Well, that's according to the Hebrew calendar. The Enochian calendar, it starts tomorrow. And so another interesting thing is that on the Enochian calendar, the Feast of Ingathering begins on September 28th. Remember I told you I liked that Feast of Ingathering? And that starts on September 28th of this month for 7 days. And how long did I say the pole flip was going to last? For 7 days. When did I say I felt that coming? The end of September. Mid to end of September. October as the back wall month. And so that's an interesting correlation that Brother Dana brought up because on September 28th is the Feast of Tabernacles of Ingathering begins, and it also runs for 7 days, and it's also the length I said the pole flip would last. And so that correlates together very well. And tomorrow is a new month on the Enochian calendar. It's also Yahushua's birthday. The day he was born was 9/11, what we consider 9/11. But it was on the Enochian calendar. That's why, on the Gregorian calendar, our dates are fixed every year. But they're not so much fixed on the Enochian calendar because they have 30-day months. And I think it's only, it's less days a year as well. It adds up over time. Then you have the leap year, the Jubilee year and all that to make up for it. But anyway, just stick with these correlations for this month. So we have Yahushua's birthday, official birthday would be tomorrow. And the new moon, new month is tomorrow. And the interesting thing about it is I said the flood would begin at noon. And Dana found this scripture. Brother Dana has a way of... I'm having problems. I'm like being cut off. I don't know if I'm still on. I'll just act like I am, even though I don't know if I am. I'll just keep talking. He always tends to find scriptures that confirm what I'm saying. And so, if you look at Psalm 37, 6 and 40, it says, "And he shall bring forth the righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. And the Lord should help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him." And in Psalm 91, 6 to 8, "Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near thee. With thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked." Noonday. Because what have I said I liked about the day Wednesday? It was, noon Wednesday. And I also said that the pole flip would begin at noon on the east side, on the eastern coast, eastern time zone. It would begin at noon. And I've always felt that if the Father was going to come and get us during the daytime, it would be at noon. Otherwise, it would be at nighttime. And so, I like the correlations. I'm big at correlations. I like correlations. I'm always looking for the hot dates. The dates when, hey, this could really work on this day, as opposed to a cold day when people are looking for a rapture and it's not going to happen because it's a cold day. I like to pick the hot days, what I consider the hot days, the ones that align, the ones that make sense, the ones that have meaning and signs and correlations around them. And so I was hoping over the weekend, the 9th, 10th, and 11th those were really hot days and nothing happened. And I thought, well, you know what? I have no idea what other hot dates are going to be this month. Well, I think we could put in the 14th and 28th for that, for hot days. Also the 23rd, because it's a Sabbath. And you know how I'm big on weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. And so, but it has to have a meaning. It can't just be any weekend. It has to have some meaning to it. And the other reason I like the 23rd is because everybody else's, the evils seem to be freaking out over that date. They really do. They all seem to be freaking out over the 23rd. So I'll throw that in there as a watch date, simply because they're not liking it for some reason. You know what? It's a Sabbath day. You know what? Father's not going to allow them to have some big satanic revelry on his Sabbath, and so if they want to open up the little gates of hell and stuff, they can do it on their own days, which is Thursday and Fridays and whatever else. Tuesdays they like, Thursdays and Fridays. And I like to do things on Mondays too, for some reason. I think that's when 9/11 occurred, was on a Monday morning, wasn't it? I remember sitting and watching that happen on TV. So, anyway, a lot of stuff going on right now. Hurricane Jose kicking up. Irma has died. She's become useless and irrelevant. She's being kicked around by the Oregon Warriors. Y'all who didn't have Oregon in your yards, you're weeping now, aren't you? A lot of witch strongholds blasted to shreds. It's kind of funny. I was kind of mocking it on my Facebook. You know, they worship the earth. That's the whole thing about Wiccan. And Mother Goddess, where was she protecting her own? You know, their gods are stupid. September 23rd is the Day of Atonement on the Enochian calendar. I wonder why I like that date. September 23rd, Day of Atonement on the Enochian calendar. That can be good or bad, because atonement is like judgment. It can be an award. They're good or bad. And so I'll put that on the watch list. And it's a Sabbath. So, all you little witches, your earth goddess, your mother goddess did nothing for you. Take note. All your properties are destroyed and flipped upside down. What do you expect being on the losing side? The dark side is the losers. Losers! They don't care if you die. They want you to die. They want you to serve them and then die and go to hell. They don't care about you. They just want to keep you away from God, from true worship, from the true Lord. So you bring up your little fairy mother goddess and the spirit of the earth that just destroyed you with hurricanes. So why are you worshiping that? Does it make any sense? At what point do you realize you're on the losing side? Bunch of losers. While you still have breath, you need to walk away and renounce evil and repent and embrace Yeshua. Anyway, be back on Friday at noon. Till then, everybody, God bless.